Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Farts.
Pooey.
Poo-wee fart. Hello, welcome to Good for a Change. This is a podcast that aims to combat the awful everyday news you hear with good news that will make you smile. I'm Jarrod, with me is Hollie.
Hello, Hollie.
Hello, Hollie, and hello, Sean.
Hi.
No, well, you didn't say your name. You should have said, you should have said hello, Hollie.
Oh, that would have been funny. Next time.
Okay, we will 100% forget. Have you got some good... Who's going first? I've forgotten. we did decide this earlier, but I've forgotten.
Hollie's going first.
Hollie's going first. Okay, great. Hollie, have you got some good news for me?
Do I ever have some good news for you, Jarrod, today?
That's too loud.
My good news this week is that they have recently re-crowned, I guess is the...
I don't know what your story is, so don't look at me.
Re-crowned the longest marriage in the world.
Oh.
Okay. As in, renewed their vows, or...?
No, so there was someone else
Yep.
who had a very long marriage, and then...
Oh, okay. As in... Alright, I get what you mean by
basically,
recrowned.
What's happened is there's a guy, and he goes through censuses. I think he works for Guinness World Records. I might be lying.
He could just be a guy with way too much time on his hands.
Yeah, he's not busy. And he has gone through the census, and he just checks out who got married when, and if those people are still around.
Yeah.
So, the current crown holders are John and Charlotte Henderson of Texas. They got married in 1939 during the Great Depression.
And it's been that way since. No. No, they must have obviously had a wonderful marriage because it's the longest marriage ever.
So they are 105 and 106 years old.
Oh.
So
And
that's
they got
8
married.
years.
Yeah, they got married when they were 26.
Wow.
Isn't that nice?
That's like, you have all these anniversaries that are like pearl and ruby and silver. What happens when you get to 80?
What is 80?
Is it like diamond?
I think diamond's before that. It must be
diamond
like
is one, isn't it?
mansion.
Casket.
Oh no. Oh, I don't think that's very good news.
It's like kryptonite or something, it's like, oh, we don't have something on Earth
Something
that is
that
relevant.
we're not going to get, yeah.
Yeah.
Because no one gets
So is
there.
this... Do you reckon that's the longest marriage of all time?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's oak.
Really?
It's oak.
So, casket. I was right.
Oh,
You get a tree.
That's kind of...
Yeah,
You get a tree. In some way, shape, or form. I mean, that's what you could give someone, I guess.
That sucks.
You get to 80 and you're like, wow, what are we getting this year? And you check on the internet and
A
you're so
door.
old that you don't really know how. Bam, that's what you get.
Oh,
dear.
But no, so do you think it's the longest marriage ever?
I don't know.
Because obviously back, a couple of 100 years ago, people weren't living that long.
That's true.
I reckon would have to be the longest running
That's a
marriage of all
really,
time.
really long marriage. Oh, no. Okay, so the longest marriage in record is 84 years.
Ooh.
They got married in 1924, and in 2008 they earned the longest.
Wow, I wonder if they were the previous record holders to this person that just got recrowned.
Wow, that's amazing.
What's interesting is they had the longest marriage and then they lost the title.
Yeah, because...
But they're still alive.
Death do us part.
Yeah. But so how did they have the longest? And then how did someone sneak up and beat them to then be recrowned again?
Okay, no, sorry, they haven't been recrowned as in they, had the record, lost the record, have it again. It's just, it's been given to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been recrowned.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I thought it was this couple had they had it in the past and then they lost it. And
Okay,
then,
no.
They'd come back and pit them from behind and boom,
Because
now
that
they're
is
married
a
on
paradox.
They invented a time machine, and they just kept on being married.
Well, I
Isn't that
like
nice?
that. That's
Yeah.
really...
They met at university
Oh, that's sweet.
in 1934.
Wow.
Do you reckon you two are going to make it to 80 years?
That's the plan. That's
Well, I
why I
mean,
got married real young.
You did get married very young.
Holly, that's one of her big things. She's like, I want to get as many of the checklist of... Well, she wants to get to oak now, clearly.
Yeah,
really
what are you going
want
to get for oak?
A tree.
I hope a door.
Okay, great.
I'll keep that in
Fingers
mind.
crossed.
Keep that in mind
Keep
for
that in mind.
78 years away.
And if you don't open it, go like, oh, it's adorable, you'll be in trouble.
Boo!
Isn't that cute? So their actual wedding anniversary isn't until the 15th of December.
Okay.
So we're a couple of days away from that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hope they make it. I mean, they will make it. They'll certainly make it.
We'll cut that out.
No, it's not that they'll pass away beforehand. It's just I hope they don't have an argument before then and divorce.
So we're like, do you know what? Actually,
I've decided I don't want to be with you anymore.
I don't want an oak tree.
The thing is, at that point, would you be like, if you did have an argument, would you split after 80 years at 100 and what? 105, 106?
It's past the point of no return. I reckon past like 60 years, you're like, we'll just see this to the end.
Yeah.
So what's nice is they did an interview with them and just said like, classic. Oh,
what's the secret to a long marriage?
What's the secret to a long marriage? What's the secret to a long life?
Can I guess what one was?
Yeah.
Never go to bed angry.
It was that, yes.
100%. That's what it was in every single interview you've ever
Does
seen.
the other one listen?
What? Turn your hearing aid up.
She just said, I like everything about him.
Oh, that's lovely.
So nice.
Really nice. And they also said we have no kids, so we didn't have to worry about that. So
okay,
there's that as well.
There we go. So if you've got kids, it's all downhill from here.
They wanted to make sure that no one was going to beat their record. They were like, if we have a child, they are going to try and claim this title from us.
Yeah.
So we that's the kind of thing that would go down the family line. It's like, yeah, we're doing this constantly.
Isn't that so nice though?
That is nice. That's really nice.
It makes me really happy that they met in 1934 and they're still just doing life. I'd love to meet them and have a conversation with them because they've seen so much stuff.
That's it. Anybody around that age, you think of what they've seen in their time. They have gone from, really, the Great Depression, like you said. Yeah. They've gone through, a couple of giant wars. They've seen technology go from
nothing
to what we're at the moment. Yeah, it's insane.
Even just talking to older people in general. I was speaking to an older man. He was about to turn 80, I think, 80-something maybe this year. And we were talking about Perth. And he grew up in Perth back in the 50s.
Talking about my dad.
I'm not talking about your dad.
He's not nearly 80.
No. No, I'm talking about this man that was in my job today. And he grew up in Perth. Yeah. And he said back in the 50s, it was like a country town. He said like a Ballarat or something like that. It wasn't a city in any way, shape or form like we describe it now. We were talking about how different cities have become, and especially Melbourne, in the last 10 years, Melbourne has changed so rapidly as a city. And it was really interesting, I've noticed that as a person that, because I obviously haven't been living in Melbourne for the past 10 years or so, have really noticed that difference. But to think about how much something has changed from when you grew up as a child in the 50s or earlier, it's really interesting. Yeah. And listening to those people and those stories is great. I
think what's also nice is they got married during the Great Depression. Mm-hmm. So that's a rough time.
Yeah.
And then they were like, no, we're going to get married. We're going to have a good life. We're going to make this work. And then 80 years later, they literally did. I think that's amazing. I think that's so lovely.
They're living the dream.
They're literally living the dream.
Good on them. What were their names?
John and Charlotte Henderson.
Good on you, John and Charlotte Henderson, who will never ever hear this.
Oh, I hope they do.
But congratulations on your achievement and on your record and on your anniversary on the 15th of December, if you do listen to us. Well, on the lines of crowns.
Way to strenuously link these stories together.
This is very much about the crown. This is about the Queen herself.
Oh, I know her.
Yes. This is about, it's sort of about the Queen. It's actually about Harriet the monkey. Harriet,
which is Queen Elizabeth's nickname.
That's what we call her in Britain.
In certain circles, yes. No, Harriet the toy monkey was one of those, in schools when kids go on holidays and they take a soft toy with them.
Yes. And
they take pictures of the soft toy on the holiday with them, and then it gets fed back to school, and school goes oh wow, look at what this monkey did while it was away, kind of thing. Well, Harriet the toy monkey was one of these monkeys from a school in Adelaide, and it went missing. It was with a young girl. She was over at Buckingham Palace. The family were having a tour of Buckingham Palace. She took a picture with the monkey having a cup of tea in Buckingham Palace, and then the monkey disappeared.
Oh my god.
They lost the monkey.
This is a disaster.
It is a disaster.
This is a Disney film waiting to happen.
It sounds
We've had this conversation before.
It sounds like bad news so far, but it will get better, I promise. So Harriet the monkey has gone missing. The family gets back to Australia. The mother goes into the preschool where this monkey had come from and says, "I am so sorry, I've lost the monkey." And the preschool director goes like, "Don't worry, got this covered. We'll write to the Queen." So they sit down and they write a letter to the Queen and they send it off and they're like, yeah, maybe something will happen, and if not, we've had a nice little, we've written to the Queen kind of thing. Well, Buckingham Palace responds.
Wow.
Yes. Oh, we found the monkey. Yes, it was eating scones in the garden shed out the back. It's obviously snuck into the scone supply. It's gonna, if he's gonna come back, or she's gonna come back, she's gonna need to do some work here to pay back her debt for eating the scones. So they've got this monkey and they've taken a bunch of pictures with it, working around Buckingham Palace. So it was like handing out audio guides and all these kind of things. And so the school received this email back with all these photos of Harriet the monkey having adventures at Buckingham Palace. And they also got, with her, she needed a travel companion because then she got sent back, of course. Yeah. The Buckingham Palace staff managed to send back the monkey. And she got a new travelling companion who is a little stuffed toy corgi.
Oh, that's lovely.
Isn't that cute?
That's very really cute. Nice.
That is like customer service level beyond.
Yeah.
But I would not expect anything else from the Queen's
Buckingham
servants.
Queen's service. Did the Queen meet the monkey?
I'm unaware of whether the Queen met
So
the monkey.
like a selfie with a monkey would have been great.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the Queen's much of a selfie person.
No.
I think it's against protocol. I'm pretty sure that as a royal family member, as like part of the rules, you're not allowed to take selfies. Which feels like someone had to write that down.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
in this
weird.
day and age, though, like,
It's because Prince Charles was mad for a selfie.
but
He was
like,
throwing peace signs left, right, and centre.
but like, you look at Harry and William, like, they're down to earth guys.
Yeah.
They walk through. Just the public, are they not stopping and taking a selfie? Are they really going to be like, oh, one cannot take a selfie?
They're allowed to take a photo with someone, so you
But
can
they
say,
can't take the photo.
unfortunately, we can't have a selfie, but this person could take a photo of us.
Really?
I'm not an expert, and I'm also not a royal family member,
But you are
unfortunately.
English.
You are our chief British correspondent.
But I'm pretty sure that selfies are not allowed, because I remember when Meghan Markle obviously became a royal family member, that was like a big
I know there are a lot
shift.
of laws about what she couldn't do. Like, she had to get rid of her social media and everything like
which
that.
is a shame, because it was excellent.
Was it?
Yeah.
One of my favourite things about, the rules about the royal family is that the Queen visited the set of Game of Thrones
Yeah.
and wasn't allowed to sit on the Iron Throne. Like, they offered her, take a seat. She was like, oh, no, that's... Oh, no, I think she just, graciously declined. And then later someone came up and went, oh, yeah, no, that's not okay. Like, that's not a thing she's allowed to do. She's not allowed to sit on another throne.
Well,
That's wild.
we were working at a gardens in the UK, and it was their 100th year anniversary, and Prince Charles came to open a centenary garden. And I was off work that day, but I was like, I'm not missing my chance to see a royal, because I'd never seen a royal in my whole time in the UK, so I thought, this is my chance, I'm going to go see a royal. And got down to the gardens and waited for quite a while, and he was late, and then he flew in by helicopter, and it was all very exciting. And as he sort of came out, he met like the most important people that were there, and shook their hands, and there was bowing and all this kind of thing. And then I sort of like locked eyes with him and gave a bit of like a head nod.
Nice.
And I don't think that's royal protocol. But I'm pretty sure he definitely did give like a back kind of thing. I mean, he didn't say like that would be a bit weird.
He
but...
did Fonzie fingers.
Yeah, he
like,
did that.
Yeah, he
that
was real into it.
it was like really weird. But
Well,
yeah.
you talk about a head nod with, royal family. My friend Emma, I spoke about her a couple of weeks ago. She and her family were in England. This is going back maybe 10 years ago. And they were at Buckingham Palace. And her mum got sort of, was standing behind out in the gardens looking at something. And the guards came up and stopped, and everyone else kept going forward, and her mum had to stop. And so she's, okay, well, what are we waiting for? And then a carriage comes past, a carriage or a car, whatever it was, and the Queen is in the car.
No.
Whoa.
Now, next to Emma's mum was another lady who was, sort of quite madly trying to get her camera out and take a photo and stuff like that. But, apparently Emma's mum just, gave a very curt little head nod. Apparently the Queen looked at her, gave her a curt little head nod back, and continued on her merry way.
Oh.
Now, see, curt little head nod, I understand.
Oh, but
however,
maybe not
mine was definitely mine was definitely a, hey, how you going, kind of thing. And it
What
was
up?
not a, yeah.
I opened the door for Prince Charles once, and I was so nervous about royal protocol. Like, it was at a job, and we knew he was coming, and they'd like, this is the rules, this is what you have to say, you have to curtsy if you blah, 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 all this. And I immediately forgot, completely gone, straight away. And so what I did was just looked at the floor. I was like, this is not my problem anymore.
I remember I was at an opening night, and I'm pretty sure like the Governor General's wife was at this opening night as well. And again, there's like a whole lot of protocol about like how you can address them and all this kind of thing. And I was told it, and then immediately forgot, and spent the rest of the night going, please do not come and talk to me. Please do not let me have to interact with this person at all, because I was just so like... And I'm sure if you just talk to them, it's not an issue at all.
Yeah, you're not going to prison.
No, exactly. But it's just such like a strange thing to have over your head, like, oh... Prince Charles that day, though, he did on the lines of photos and the royals. Everyone was taking pictures. Everyone was going crazy. And he turned around to everyone. He's quite funny and goes... oh, put those away. If you keep taking photos of me like that, your cameras will break, or something like that.
Classic
So
Charles.
Tell Charlie.
Well, that's not Emma's mum's only royal story.
What?
So,
Let's get Emma's mum in here.
I mean, we would not be able to stop. Like, this podcast would go for hours. But I want to say last year, Harry and Meghan came to Melbourne. And it was huge. People were lining the streets to... catch a glimpse.
As you should.
As you should. Now, Emma's mum was working. She's a rep, and so she had gone into, some building. And, she had noticed all these cars, but had no idea really what was going on.
Yeah.
She then came back out. Everyone had gone. It was, dead, deserted. And as she's about to get in her car, a car drives around. And she looks, and in the car is Harry and Meghan.
Curt nod.
I think she gave a wave this time. I don't think she went for the curt nod. She gave a wave.
She's friends now. She's in the circle.
Well, that's it. Harry sort of gave a wave, and Meghan apparently leant forward to make sure she saw her, gave a wave, and off they went on their merry way.
I wish I could just wave at people.
You can wave at me if you like, but it is not a visual medium, so no one will know if you...
He just waved.
Oh my gosh. He didn't. Okay, well, I'm going to strenuously link our stories together, Sean.
I'm ready.
You mentioned a corgi. I have a story about dogs.
Yay!
I think
We love it.
After adopting a dog, which is a staffy, named Aida, her owners found that she was happiest when spending time with the dog next door, Cashew. Dog being best friends. So the neighbours decided to build a doggy door in the fence.
Aww.
Incredible, right? The story gets so much better, but let's stop on that for a moment.
Okay.
So the dogs basically run, but like almost equal parts lived in each house.
Great.
Okay.
The neighbours' family included small kids, and Aida just loved it. One night when they got home from work, Aida's owners couldn't find her.
Oh no.
It turned out Aida had wandered into the family's house during bath time. So that's lovely, just wanders in, and I'm going to live here for the moment. But not content just watching, she jumped into the bath with the children. Now, Aida apparently hates baths, like refuses to be bathed by her owners.
Yeah.
But the kids are in the bath. Mate, jump on in.
It's the fun zone.
It's the fun zone. Right? So now, every night at the same time, Aida wanders over to the neighbour's house, jumps in the bath with the kids.
That's amazing.
But Cashew, the best friend who actually lives there, does not participate.
Oh, fair enough.
Cashew is not here for bath time. He does not like bubbles.
No. We used to, did you ever have a dog, Holly? I know Sean.
Yeah, we had a dog.
What was your dog?
Our dog was a lab cross greyhound. Very similar thing. Her name was Zoe. She was amazing. I loved her. 2 great stories about Zoe. Story number 1, my parents used to live above a vet. And she was dropped on the doorstep of the vet as a puppy, abandoned there. And my parents were like, oh my gosh, what's that dog noise? Dog. Then it was our dog.
Nice.
Good times. Second thing about Zoe, very similar to Aida and Cashew, we had a hole in the fence in our garden, and she would run round to our next door neighbour's house, and our next door neighbour would walk her, and our next door neighbour, they were like best friends forever, and then she'd like come home, she'd be like, I've had a great day while you were all at school with Joan.
That's crazy.
It was wonderful. It was really nice. It was like the same thing, like a shared love for the dog.
Did she like to be bathed?
I don't know. I can't remember.
We had a dog, Jet, and we had Jet for like 12 years, and he was a big dog, and he was black and shaggy. Like, we had to vacuum the house twice a day.
Oh my
That's
God.
not a joke. It was just, even now, like, he's been gone 18 months.
Yeah.
I am still finding his hair in the carpet.
Oh dear.
So, originally we would try to, bathe him, in the bath.
Yeah.
And when he was a tiny little puppy, when we first got him, it was easy. But within like 3 weeks, he was the size of an elephant. He was huge. And so you'd try to put him in the bath and he would just look at you and be like, yeah, no, mate, not happening. And he'd jump out. So we would take him to the car wash up the road has a dog
Yeah.
bath in it.
Yep.
And basically that was what he lived for. Like the days Dad would put the lead on him and he wouldn't go anywhere else. He would just go directly because he knew where it was. It was just up the road from our house around the corner, and he would just go there. Dad wouldn't even have to lead him anywhere. He would just know that, and he'd jump in and look at Dad and be like, let's do it.
It's go time.
It's go time. We had another dog, Molly. She was a Cocker Spaniel. And she was this tiny little thing, so we used to put her in the shower. To be like, just quickly chuck her in, get some dog shampoo.
Yeah.
Just jump in the shower with me while I'm in there.
Get it done.
Get it done.
2 in
Bang.
1.
Yeah.
Shampoo,
2 in 1.
conditioner.
Oh yeah, she had horrible dandruff. And she would sit there looking like a drowned rat, just staring at the door, going, "Can I please get out now, please?" It's like, no.
Our old dog Ollie was a bit like that. So he was a West Highland White Terrier crossed with a Maltese.
He was a very cute dog.
A very
was
cute dog.
cute.
And I don't know if he loved showers, but he had showers in that same kind of like 2 in 1,
Yep.
get it done kind of job. But afterwards, he would be raggedy as anything and need to dry off. And his way of drying off was to run around the house, which he liked doing anyway. But he would run around the house and shake to get dry. And Mum and Dad would like dry him off with the towel. So he was basically dry anyway, but he still thought he was wet. So he would run and shake himself off. But it wasn't like a stop and shake. He would run, and as he would run, he would shake. But it was like a shake that started at his nose and then worked through his body to his tail. So he'd be like running along and it'd be like, the whole way along the body, which was always hilarious to watch. It was almost cartoon, like a cartoon character, like wobbling and shaking all the way through and then being like, okay, run around again, kind of thing.
My favourite part about Ollie was, remember we could get him to howl?
Yeah, he sang. He was a singer.
You would sing and you would be able to harmonise with him. And he would almost find your pitch.
Yeah.
Rather than the other way around.
I think it was like we like worked out. So we discovered it because my sister played saxophone for a while, and she was rehearsing it when we got him, and he just sort of stood below her, and as she was playing, just started like singing along. And we were like, "Oh boy, this is an exploitable trait." And from then on, we sort of worked out that he would sing, but he would sing not only on demand, you could get him to sing by sort of doing a little howl yourself, but he sang when he was excited as well. So if you came home from work, he would be at the door, like Dad. He loved Dad. Dad would come home from work and he'd be at the door, like waiting for him, and he'd be bouncing around kind of thing, and then he'd start howling as well, and he'd just be like, "Oh, this is too cute. I can't handle the cuteness."
He was cute. He didn't like me so much because my name was Holly. My name is still Holly.
Yes.
I've not changed that half. And his name was obviously Ollie, and I think
There was confusion.
there was a lot of confusion.
Especially when I was around, because when I talk to you, I like to adopt your accent, but in a real Dick Van Dyke way.
Yeah.
And I don't say Holly, I go, "Hello, Ollie."
Yeah.
So I'm literally saying Ollie.
Yeah,
He would have been
bless
very
him.
confused.
Yes.
Bless him.
What a hero.
What a dog.
That's nice. Did they build the door?
I belive so, yes.
Is it like a cat flap,
Yes.
sort of a swinging door
It is.
situation?
Now, I have got a picture here of Ada in the bath.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
We'll put it on the show notes.
Put it in the show notes,
On
but yeah,
Instagram.
she's very happy.
look at that dog.
Look at the dog, and that's one of the small children just like, "Can I please get in the bath with the dog, please?"
Baths were really fun. I miss nowadays I can't have baths.
I don't fit in our bath.
That is often an issue. I don't fit in baths either.
Very
We have this
short.
tiny little bath. You guys at your parents' place have a fantastic bath.
That is a big bath.
And even yesterday, Holly and I walked around IKEA, and there was a great bath in there. That,
Incredible
like,
bath.
Yeah, I mean, she wouldn't get in it, but she had also just embarrassed herself in front of a customer. So
Yeah, that was a good time.
I just find like I sit in a bath now, and it's sort of like I think it's because I lived in a house in the UK that didn't have a shower; it just had a bath, and I was like, I just don't feel clean. I do not feel clean.
Is this the one that I?
No,
Okay.
no,
I was
no,
gonna say, 'cause that was the shower
This is a place
that
I
I
stayed
could
at
not
briefly.
use.
No, the power showers also very different. But sometimes I'll be like, oh, I'm in a hotel. I'm gonna have like a nice like relaxing time in the bath, and I sort of run myself to the bath, and it's warm, and there's no bubble bath or anything, and then I just sit there and I'm like, this is weird. This is just really I don't fit.
Yeah,
I'm just
stew.
It's
naked
like
in the filth
human
stew.
soup.
Yeah, and I'm just sort of floating here like, nah, I'm out of this.
Yeah,
I can't
nah.
do a bath anymore.
Nah, but your shower in your house when I came to stay, I could not use that. Do you remember like the third day I had to come and get you to show me how to do it,
Yeah.
Holly? Because
That was weird.
it was weird. So I spent 2 days having cold showers because I thought I was doing something wrong, and I was too like stubborn to come and tell you about it. I'm like, because the thing is like, right, in every shower I've ever been in around the world, I've showered in many places around the world. There are two knobs, one for hot, one for cold.
Yeah.
Yours,
I can see where you got confused.
yeah, yours had one for power and one for heat.
Yeah.
And that made no sense to me. So I would try to turn them both around to get them, okay, oh, that's cold, let me turn the hot on. Okay, why is the water coming down a little bit? Now it's getting colder, like, ice blocks are coming out. I'm just going to have a cold shower. And it was fine, like, obviously, in the end, I figured it out. But that first day when we'd been on a plane for 25 hours, that was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Yeah, that's not a good time.
I've been there.
Just before we got on a 25-hour flight.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Lovely.
Oh dear.
But besides, baths and warm showers, Holly, what's good in your life?
I have rediscovered my love of bubbles.
Ooh, like a bubble bath?
No, like blowing bubbles.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you what, blowing bubbles is the funnest thing.
It's good. It's good.
I've got 3 different bubble ones.
Are they the long ones?
I've got one long one.
Because I can get a lot of bubbles out of a long one.
Yeah. I've got one that, like, you press the button, it opens up, so it's like a diamond shape.
Really?
Yeah,
The
I'll
bubble's
show
not
it
diamond.
you
The
after.
bubble is still
Okay,
round.
great.
Yeah, the bubbles are obviously
Well,
still
obviously.
round. That's science. And then I've just got a little pot with a.
I don't like those ones. I find
your
Your hand gets gross.
your hand gets gross, but also after like 3 goes of it,
It's too fluffy.
It's too fluffy, and
Yeah.
you're just getting fluff, and that never works.
It's a very quality bubble mix though. The short
is it?
one. So the long one, the bubble mix sucks. It's the worst.
Okay.
But it is long, so you do get a good swoop with it. The one with the button has an excellent bubble mix and is a big one.
Interesting.
So
it's real good.
that's the superior bubble one.
Just for listeners at home, there is a lot of arm swinging action going on right now.
There's been a lot
of mime acting.
A lot of mime acting between the two of us.
So please imagine that in your head as
Yeah.
this conversation continues.
Yeah.
It's just a great time.
Great. I'm all about a bubble.
It's
I bought my
simple
niece's
joys.
a bubble machine a few years ago.
Oh, nice.
And we for Christmas, and we took it outside, put it on. They had a ball, and then for the next probably 3 hours, as we all sat around outside eating Christmas breakfast, nearly slipped to death because
Oh no.
obviously it'll pop and it just leaves like a slippery coating. It was like a water slide on our back deck.
Oh no.
It's amazing also watching how people respond to bubbles because it's such a simple joy. It's a really simple joy, and watching Holly play with the bubbles has been very exciting for Holly, and you can see that on her face as she
Because I'm a
switches her
child.
arms. But then seeing like my mum was standing on top of the deck and Holly was down in the garden, and my mum was trying to get the bubbles to fly up to her so that she could pop them up on the balcony. And then my grandma came as well, and she was equally like, oh, bubbles.
Just many generations of bubbles.
Yeah, it's just such a simple joy that does bring a lot of happiness.
Well, one of my favourite things I read online once was that it's impossible to say the word bubble sounding angry.
Bubble!
You can't do it. That just sounds silly. Like, you cannot say the word bubble and sound serious.
Yeah.
Bubble.
Bubble.
Well, no, that didn't sound serious. That sounded creepy. And now I hesitate to ask because I worry you'll do the whole thing in that voice. But Sean, what's good in your life?
What is good in my life? I recently there was a great special at EB Games. Mm-hmm. And they're clearly trying to get rid of like old stock on consoles that they don't sell anymore. And they were having like 3 games for $15 on like PlayStation 3, Wii, and Nintendo DS. And we are not sponsored by EB, but it was a great sale, and I picked up some games. And one of them was Drawn to Life, and it's the second one. And it was on my DS, and I just like...
2.
Drawn to Life 2. More drawing. I don't know what its full title is. Electric Boogaloo or something. But I remember playing Drawn to Life 1 when like the DS first came out, and I was like, this is amazing. And then for many years I had forgotten about it, and then I saw on the iPhone a game, Scribblenauts, and in my head I thought Scribblenauts was the same game. And Scribblenauts has a similar premise, that you write things and they appear, and you use them in your game to problem solve, whereas Drawn to Life you draw things. And so I got Scribblenauts and I was a bit disappointed. I still enjoyed it, but like I was a bit disappointed. And then finally I've rediscovered Drawn to Life, and Holly said that I had to draw her as the hero of the game, because that's the kind of marriage we have. Yeah, we'll get to Oak someday.
Codependence? I think that's year 79.
But I've been designing all the other elements that you draw, so like the platforms and things, so they all relate to like Holly in some way, shape or form. But there's like ridiculous things that have appeared. So like Holly back in the UK had this ball that she was mad for. It was like this high bounce ball.
Oh my gosh, my pink ball.
Yeah, pink ball.
Oh, I love my pink
And so I needed to draw a round object
you really are
in this game.
I like bubbles on my pink ball.
It's a really good ball. We got it at Toys R Us before Toys R Us closed.
It was literally the last thing we bought at Toys R Us. It was during the like closing down sale.
And it is incredible.
Where is it? Why didn't you bring it with you?
Because I only got 25 kilos of weight to bring.
How big was this ball?
It's only like this big.
But we had a lot of stuff to bring back.
No.
So yeah.
Amateur hour over here.
I've been enjoying playing that.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And what's good in your life, Jarrod?
I mentioned this earlier, but Holly and I recently went to IKEA. And how long did we spend in IKEA, Holly?
Very, very many hours.
It was close to like 3.5 hours, which I didn't realise until when we left.
Yeah.
And I got in my car, I was like, "Oh, that is like a long time."
4 calendar days had passed.
It is a wonderful place, and you were only on level 1. You were like, where do the arrows go?
I mean, most of our time was spent on level 1 as well.
Yeah, we had a good time in level 1.
We tried out, different mattresses just to see what was comfortable. I bought a couple of pillows based off that.
Yeah.
When I arrived, because I also came to this IKEA party after work, I received a text message saying, we're just past rugs, we're in the bathroom section now. And by the time I get to the bathroom section, they're going to have moved on a little bit more. So I used one of those cut across that they have, the secret cut across doors. And I was like, this is where it feeds out into, like bathrooms feeds out into this. And you weren't there. And it was like bed sheets or something. And I could hear a voice, and I was like, that sounds like Jarrod. And so I rounded the corner, and I was like really big and characterful, like, hey, oh, no, it's not Jarrod. And so I was like, where are these guys? And I had to like go back and find you guys still in bathrooms. To which point I found Jarrod, and Jarrod was talking to a sink. And then Jarrod told me that I had to try and find Holly.
That was the game.
The game was somewhere.
Yeah, Holly had hidden herself away.
Now, from where I was standing, I couldn't really see the place where Holly was hiding. To me, it looked like there was a wall. And so I opened a cupboard, like a floating cupboard, to look inside. Little cupboard
that like maybe you could fit a 1-year-old in at most.
I've been to the gym, but I've not lost that much weight.
I just thought, like, knowing Holly, she's probably managed to crawl herself into this box here and hide there. Turns out she was in a shower, so not that thrilling in the end, but yeah.
Yes, but it was a great day. Like, Holly at one point embarrassed herself by pretending to jump onto this bed, and as she's going to do it...
Like, with gusto.
Yeah, with gusto. Another person who was shopping...
She was in the walk-in wardrobe.
In the walk-in wardrobe section, starts walking, like, almost, like, in front of us to cut through to the next section. So, all she sees is, like, Holly acting like Superman, about to jump, dive onto this bed. And it was quite embarrassing for you, wasn't it?
I had to really play it off. I was like, I'm going to jump in this bed. and then I like went to dive and I was like, oh, I wouldn't really do that. No. I'm a grown-up.
Had that lady not been there, would you have dived onto that bed?
I don't think I would have done because I might have broken it. I feel like IKEA beds are not sturdy enough to take a Superman jump.
That's true. But we had a good time because we walked around and played my favourite game to play in IKEA, which is Name That Sitcom. Because they have these display rooms so intricately done, we would stand on like the fourth wall, if you will, and I would say to Holly, okay, name that sitcom. And we came up with some good ones. We had a nice...
Paris at Home.
Paris at Home, which was about Paris Hilton living like a commoner.
It's kind of like The Simple Life.
The Simple Life, but scripted.
But like scripted, yeah. It was like, it was a pink home. It kind of looked like Two Broke Girls.
Yeah.
But like pinker. And I was like, who would live here? Paris Hilton. But it was like not nice enough to be a Paris Hilton home.
No. Once Holly, her mum and I sat in an IKEA room that was a wonderful lounge. It was very well appointed.
I think I've taken a picture. We could probably put it in the show notes.
Okay, you might find that on Instagram. And it was so nice and so comforting that we sat there on the couches with her mum for 2 hours just talking about life.
Just hanging out.
That's great.
In IKEA. Yeah. I mean, people would walk past, look at us and go like, oh, they're having a deep and meaningful, we'll move on.
Like, we sat in a place yesterday for a little bit.
Yeah.
In like a really sort of cozy... I think we both just said, yeah, this is the sort of room.
This is the vibe.
This is the vibe. Then we sat there and had a lovely... Well, we didn't sit there for 2 hours. We sat there for probably 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's weird, 2 hours. 2 hours is like an unusual amount.
Yeah, but also we were in IKEA for 3.5 hours. Considering, like, a couple of days earlier, I had done the top level of IKEA in 4 minutes, 51 seconds.
Well, the thing is, I was literally there the day before as well.
You were. Less than 24 hours beforehand.
And I had as thorough a look the second time as I did. I just love IKEA. It's my happy place. It is where I go if I'm having a bad day. I think because it's like, oh, these homes are cozy.
I was going to say, is it because it's homely?
Yeah.
But also, the food.
The food.
Like, we had lunch there, didn't we, Holly? I had these lovely chicken meatballs.
I had gravlax. As per, and mash.
I had a hot dog, and I must say, this is a UK versus Australia reference. Although the bistro menu, as in not the big restaurant, but the bistro downstairs at the end, the menu at the UK is much broader. There's a lot more on offer. In fact, you can get a whole meal with the hot dog. It's like hot dog, chips, drink. And here it's just sort of hot dog and drink is the meal. Yeah. The hot dog, though, is of a much, much better quality than... in the UK, so I really appreciated that. I had a good hot dog for $1. I mean, where can you get a hot dog for $1? That's where IKEA just roams at home.
That is true. And what I like about Australian IKEA is it feels like they've just changed the pound sign to a dollar sign. So it's even cheaper.
Yeah.
Incredible.
That's true.
I've just found out. We spoke about Ralph the Penguin.
Yes.
2 episodes ago.
Is this the one in the jacket?
In the jacket.
The one in the jacket.
Yes, that's right.
Our friend Emily has just messaged me, and his wife was called Coral.
Oh. Hello, Coral, if you're listening.
That was all. Isn't that nice? Coral.
That's nice. That is a nice penguin name.
She has the soft toy. Well,
that was just messaged to us by someone, and if you would like to message us some good news, you can do so via our email, which is goodforachangepodcast@gmail.com, or direct message us on Instagram. We'd love to know your good news. We might share it in the podcast, as we just did with Coral's name there, which fills a gap on our story.
Coral.
I also want to quickly interject.
Yes.
Just if we're doing updates to stories.
Yeah, go for it.
A couple of weeks ago, I was talking about the NDIS and Emma's wheelchair.
Yep.
And I said it was between $15,000 to $20,000.
Yep.
It's actually worth $28,000.
Wow.
I have since found out.
That's amazing.
Insane.
That is really... That's amazing that she can have access to that.
Yes,
so that's,
absolutely.
That is... It just keeps being wonderful.
That is good news, Jarrod.
That is good news.
So those were good stories.
Thank you very much.
We've done well again.
I had a good time.
I had had a wonderful time.
I had a great time.
If you had a great time, you should leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. On the podcast directory. It's really easy to do. It doesn't take very long, but it makes a huge difference to us in spreading the word of the podcast. Over the past few weeks, it's really grown. So leave us a review. Write a little review. Write something nice. Give us 5 stars.
Only.
Yeah, only 5 stars.
Once again, we would like to reiterate the 5-star policy. Unfortunately, we cannot accept any reviews under 5 stars. I'm so sorry. There's nothing that we can do. It is written in the policy. We also can't take selfies.
I also am not allowed to sit on an iron throne. But thank you very much, Holly.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Oh, it's my pleasure. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Jarrod. You're welcome.
Until next time.
Bye.
Bye, 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 bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, my voice broke on that one.
Oh, Jarrod, good news. You've hit puberty.